to have nearby today. The usual 2 blocks and a strap, and maybe a folded blanket if you want some padding for your knees, or if you'd like to cover up if you're in the cool places. Let's go ahead and start today by sitting still. So find a comfortable seat for yourself, maybe folding your legs in or taking one or both out in front of you. If you'd like to put some support underneath your pelvis, you can do that. Take a moment, go into your seat, look around your space. And as you look out, excuse me, as you look out into the room that's around you, notice different colors. How many different colors in the space there? Are you holding your breath? Distinguish between this and that. It's a 4-part breath. Maybe unclench your teeth if they're biting together, lips resting together, even swallow. And then go ahead and let your eyes close and still do the looking gesture. So letting your neck turn, your face tips upwards or tips downwards. What's it like to look but without seeing? Maybe this time use your ears. What sounds do you notice out of each moving your neck, hearing the sounds around you? How's your breathing as you move your neck in different positions? Come back to center and some slow and easy shoulders. Did you change your breathing again? You come back to breathing in 4 parts. And as you're circling your shoulders, look around the sensations you're creating by raising and lowering your shoulders, letting them squeeze on the back and then pull apart as they move forward. What kinds of sensations do you notice that occur on the left side of your body versus the right side of your body? Even though they're doing similar actions, is the sensation the same? Where is it stronger or lesser? Circle the other way when you're ready, reversing your circling and going the other way around. If you've been going one at a time with each shoulder circling, how about them both together? If you've been doing the same thing, how about letting them not do the same thing? So maybe one goes forward up while the other goes backward up. Or maybe one's going up while the other's going down. Did you start holding your breath or clenching your teeth to try a different pattern? See if you can make it different again. Maybe you're just going to take them each in the opposite direction. So trying something new, something different than what you've been doing. And then finally, choose when you're going to let them rest and be still. And once your shoulders are no longer moving, what kind of sensations show up from not doing anything? What sensations do you experience when they're just existing, just being? Bring your attention to your breathing, and as you expand with inhale and your body contracts and becomes smaller with exhale, what sensations do you notice there? Maybe notice, does the left lung seem to expand as big or as easily as the right side? Does the right side feel any different than the left side? And as you work with these next few breaths, every time you exhale, go ahead and hum the exhale. So create a vibration as you hum the exhale and there's a vibration. Notice, where do you feel muscles in your body tightening or toning? And are there any muscles in your body that don't have a stiffening while you're humming? A little bit longer with this centering experience. You might also check in. Are you bored with this? Are you waiting for the real yoga to happen? Is this soothing or comforting in any way to notice how you're feeling? And then coming back to normal exhales without the humming. We'll do a nasal clearing next. If you'd like to blow your nose beforehand, you can. When you're ready for nasal clearing after an easy inhale, easy exhale to empty your lungs. Using either hand, gently close your nose. Thumb and another finger can pinch the sides of the nose towards the center. And then once your nose is closed, you can let your head have some slow and easy movements around. How far through your body do you feel the sensations of moving your head around? When you have a urgency or a need for inhale, head to center, release your nose. Try not to gasp the inhale. Can be quiet and smooth and easy. Taking a few breaths after nasal clearing. We'll repeat that. So at the end of an exhale, when you're ready, maybe use the other hand this time. Closing the nose to make sure no air leaks through. You can let your head have some movement. Also verify your lips stay together so you don't get a small leaking through the mouth. Take your time as you move your head in different directions. Maybe go a smidge longer into the urgency of inhale. When you do bring your head to center and release your nose, try not to gasp or rush the inhalation. And you have a little pause after the inhale before you exhale. A little pause, a little space after the exhale before you inhale. We'll do that a couple more times. You get to choose which hand next. So at the end of an exhale, closing your nose, slow and easy movement for your head and your neck as you hold your nose closed. Take your time. And this bring you more into what you're feeling in your body. Changing patterns, and then noticing the effect of what you did. And noticing the effect over several inhales and exhales, not using just a sample of one. You can do that 2 or 3 more times on your own. What's it like to take some agency for your practice, to decide when it's time to start the next one, how long the next one will be? Do you want to push limits and go a little more into the need for breath? You feel more inclined to hold back a little today? Don't forget to close your nose as you hold the breath. The pinching of the nose closed is to help accumulate some nitric oxide in the sinus chamber. So when you take the inhale, you bring that down into your lungs to be absorbed into your bloodstream. And then you decide, when's your last one? Maybe you've already done the last one. You're over this. Maybe you want to try 1 or 2 more of those. You might want or need to blow your nose after doing that. And then as you come back into sitting still, acknowledge what shows up next. Maybe you need to yawn. Yawning is a sign that we're changing energy pattern. Maybe you need to breathe a little more deeply. Maybe you feel a little more calm or still. When you're ready, hum the next couple exhales. And what's it like to go back to humming after doing the nasal clearing? You might even choose this time when you're humming to cut So you create a bit of a feel so the sound is a little more muted. What's it like to listen to your humming and to your inhaling if you're covering your ears? Try that for the next 3 or 5 breaths. You can let your ears remain covered for a little while longer. When you're ready, you can finish your last one and lower your hands. Once you have lowered your hands, what do you notice about breathing and how you are with yourself after having covered your ears, making sound, making breath? Take a moment. Any intention you have for your practice today, any intention you might have for being alive this next week here in Earth School. Might be words, might be a feeling, might be something that you're aiming for or tacking towards. And what's it like to be with that and give some breath to it? And then take that idea or flavor of intention into a little bit of spinal circling. Now that we're going to do a stronger movement, can you keep that sense of introversion that hopefully you received from those beginning pranayama techniques? As you circle around, notice your sensations. Maybe reflect on where in your body do they show up? How strong or light are the sensations? Even notice your reaction to them. Are there certain sensations that you like? Are there certain sensations you're trying to get away from? At some point, reverse your circling, go the other way around. As you circle, notice the limits that you might be feeling. Where is there a limit where the joint just can't comfortably go any further in that direction? Where are there limits where the muscles are stretched at capacity or at your tolerance of capacity? Can you tell what's a muscle contracting versus a muscle being pulled longer? And then come on back to center, a little seated cat cow. Each of these first movements is a diagnostic. How are you showing up in the right side of your body today? How are you showing up in the left? And also, these are diagnostics for how well are you noticing yourself today? Are you more focused on right body sensations or left body sensations? Are you trying to move only in a way that feels good, or are you repeatedly moving in a way that's uncomfortable or not good, not as nutritious for your body? Side bending's next. So whenever you're ready, you can lean over to one hand and come on back up. Notice, do you tend to just go to the side or do you add a little twist? Does the upper shoulder and rib cage tip forward or tip backwards? Maybe try it. Twist and take that upper shoulder a little more forward a couple times. What's that like to do a little bit of a forward twist as you side bend? Maybe even start twisting the upper shoulder backwards a little as you go to the opposite side. So creating different sensations and watching how do you react to those sensations? Do you like them? Do you not want to do them as much? Are you unsure how you feel about your sensation? When you come on back up, how about twisting? You can go left hand over to right knee and look around behind you. And then you can reverse left hand Right hand over to left knee as you look around behind you. Notice, do you tend to maximize the twist with your neck so your head is going the furthest? Or are you trying to twist your lower ribs the furthest? Go ahead and find one of those sides to the twist and hang out there. Maybe a little seated cat-cow as you twist your body in this direction. What new sensations come up there? How's your breathing? Do you still have four parts? Lips together, teeth apart. Unwind your twist when you're ready. Head around to the other side. Maybe a little cat-cow movement over on this side here. Are you doing most of the cat-cow with your pelvis tipping forward and back, or with your neck, or your rib cage? And then at some point, come on back forward. And as you come forward, change the cross of your legs so you have the other leg on top or in front. Easy forward fold. Walk your hands out in front of you. Maybe elbows stay off the ground. Maybe you'll bend your elbows and rest them on your legs, or perhaps bend them so they touch the floor in front of your shin. There could be a little swaying, micro cat-cow kind of movement as you're leaning forward. Don't hurt your back. Don't hurt your hip joints. Respect your limits and maybe investigate. How do you know where your limits are? How do you know if this is a safe limit to stretch? Is this a safe amount of stretch for these areas of your body? A little twisting. Instead of elbows on floor, some of you might want to slide your hands back so your elbows actually rest on your legs, but some of you might want to keep an elbow on the floor. As you lean onto your left elbow, go ahead and take your right hand onto your right ribs and twist and look a little up towards the ceiling. And then as you go back to the floor, place your arm back down, either elbow on knee or floor. This time the left hand up on the left ribs as you twist a little and look up at the ceiling. So repeat that and notice if you're just forcing yourself to go as far as possible. What if you twist it a little bit less so you don't get the satisfaction of going so far? Does that change how you experience sensation? You might want to hang out on one side, even a little micro cat-cow as you hold this kind of bizarre forward folding twisting pose. Some point you can switch over to the other side, maybe hold there, a little micro cat-cow. In your own time, you can come back to the floor, walk your hands back towards you, and sit tall. What's it like to be tall after that? How's your back body feel? When in your own time, bring your hands to the floor back behind you and lift up on your heart. So thinking back then by moving your heart space straight up, you might sway a little from one hand to the other. You could try this with your fingers turned forward towards your pelvis. What does that do for your shoulders and your spine, your rib cage and your side body? You can try it with your fingers turned out towards the sides of your mat. What kind of sensations show up there? Pause before you do the next one. It might not be so good for your particular shoulders, or maybe just one of them might not like it. What if you turned your fingers back to the mat behind you and you do a little leaning? What kind of information does that give you about your body and your limits? Are you going past capacity of your joints, or is this maybe taking you into a place that's good in a way? Little cat-cow before you leave here. Pick your hand choice that works for you as you do cat-cow. See how that feels. And then in your own time, go ahead and take your legs out in front of you as you lean back on your hands. You can clunk your knees a little up and down on the ground. See how that feels. And then maybe a little twisting so your feet go apart and back together. How about twisting so your feet go to the same side at the same time? And then how about clunk twist so you're clunking and twisting both legs at the same time? Chaos. Are you holding your breath to create chaos? And then when you're ready, you can bend your knees, feet to the floor, and then do a little knee swiveling. Let that get more into your lower side body. You hold your hands in the same or a similar position on the floor. What's it like to twist your lower body against your more stationary upper body? And then when you're ready from here, go ahead and take both knees over to the same side. Bring your hands to the floor so you're straddling on either side of your knee. The other knee's just bent behind you. Lower yourself down over your legs, and then you can bring your elbows to the floor and pause here for a few moments in this shape. Let your belly breathe and interact with your thigh. If this is too much folding over your leg, you can always come back up onto your hands. So you've raised your torso away from your thigh. Give yourself a few moments here. Maybe let the neck relax so your forehead dangles closer to the floor. You might even want to try humming. What is your thigh experience as your belly is humming? Can you feel the contraction of your abdominal muscles? And then when you inhale, can you feel those same muscles soften and expand? What if yoga practice was more about noticing and less about exactly what we're doing? Can your yoga practice help you become a better noticer instead of just a better stretcher? There's no rush to walk your hands slowly back towards you. Can your forehead stay heavy so you don't lift your head first? You lift your spine first. And then once you come on back up, let your knees again swivel from side to side. What's it like to swivel towards the leg that you were resting over versus swiveling away from it? So, can you also use your practice to notice change? When are things changing in subtle or strong ways? Second side, hands straddle the knee, bending the elbows, lowering down over your bent knee, resting more on your thigh. Let the neck go so the forehead is kind of dangling there. Breathe your belly out against your thigh, maybe even humming a few of the exhales to create vibration. Your thigh can reflect to your awareness what your belly's experience of toning and softening. And your belly also notice your thighs experience. What does your belly know about what's happening in your thigh here? You might check in. Are you clenching teeth? Are you shortening or eclipsing either of the pauses in the breath? And if you do notice that, what do you do about it? Do you use that information and change behavior, or do you acknowledge the information and just move on without doing anything with it? At some point, you can walk your hands slowly back towards you and raise yourself back up. Bring your hands to the floor behind you. Do a little knee swiveling side to side. I tend to do the same or similar first movements in the practices that I do and that I lead. So you have an opportunity to use the same movements to see how are you with them today. We're going to table next. So take your time making your way into hands up to hands and knees. Keeping your body safe, you might put down some sort of folded blanket, especially if your knees are sensitive or tender when you're weight bearing. You can do a little cat cow once you get there. Go ahead and try cat cow with your hands super close together. Like bring your left hand and your right hand together below you. What does that do for you if your thumbs are touching or the sides of your head touching? What if you now take your hands wider than your mat and try cat cow? What kind of sensations show up for you in your spine or in your shoulder blades? What if you to hands close and bring your elbows to the floor? Could you put your forearms right up next to each other? So if you were seated, your forearms would be touching. Cat cow with your forearms touching. What does that do for the muscles that attach from your elbow to your armpits? A little harder, but could you widen your forearms to the sides of your mat? Your shoulders as you try a little cat. Try not to force all the movement into one side more than the other. And come back up onto your hands. Regular old cat cow. What's it like to try cat cow after doing those other movements? How about jump rope your spine? So you circle up one side across the top and down the other. Point pull in the opposite direction. And then come on back to center, thread the needle. Your left hand behind your right wrist. And then you settle down, hold the shape for a few moments. Once you arrive there, first thing, make sure your neck is safe. Can your feet rest on the floor? Notice if one or both of your feet want to lift up away from the floor while you hold this. Are you bending in the back of your knee creases to be in cat cow? Maybe hum gently and exhale. What happens if you use humming sound as you're in this forward folding twist? How do your abdominal muscles respond to that in this shape? There's no rush to come out of this side of thread the needle. You can palm press and bring yourself back to table. Maybe a little cat cow movement there. Notice how one side of your body is now compared to the other. We'll do the other side next. So when you're ready, you can thread the needle the other way. And as you settle into it, the first thing is take your time from here. You can press your palms and come on back up. Once you come on back up, cat cow, how's that feel now? And then when you're ready, some form of child's pose. So for some of you, you might just lower down onto your elbows. So it's like a forearm table. Some of you might wish to come down onto your side and pull your knees into your belly, or lay on your back and pull your knees in. Take your time as you find a child's pose that'll work for you. It's difficult. Maybe think about it for one exhale before you try it. What would it be like to hum in child's pose? Maybe hum silently in your mind the first time. Notice how your belly muscles respond. Maybe then hum with actual sound here in your version of child's pose. And then when you're ready from here, once you've finished your humming, ease your way back up to hands and knees. Some of you might need a stronger counter stretch. You might want to move towards an up dog so your thighs are moving towards the floor. Some of you might want to repeat jump roping the spine so your spine goes up one side, across the top, and down the other and around. You might even wish to move from up dog to child's pose or table to up dog. When you're ready from here, easy twist. From table pose, move your left hand towards the middle of the mat. Bring your right hand up onto your right side ribs, and then look up towards the ceiling where the wall and the ceiling meet over to this side. Make sure you're not over stiffening the hand, the fingers, the wrist, the arm, the shoulder, the neck, the jaw. It's difficult. What would it be like to hum in this simple twist? Do you crunch your teeth? Does your face get all gripped up like sour lemon face? And then you can look down and bring your hand down. Try your cat cow after that. What happened there? And then we'll do the other side. So this time, right hand moves a little closer to center mat. Bring your left hand up onto your side ribs. And as you twist a little to the side, don't make it a goal to look at where the wall and the ceiling meet. Just get that sense of more upward and forward. And then maybe try humming. What is it like for your abdominal muscles to hum here? It's not easy. How do you approach, how do you respect your body when things aren't easy? There's no rush to look down and lower your hand, and resetting the hands. Try a little cat cow, see how that feels. And then when you're ready, you might want to move your blanket out of the way before you come down onto your belly. You can stack up your hands, make a little pillow for your forehead. And then when you bend your knees, let your feet go left to right. So another twisting where we're holding the upper body more stationary. By moving the legs, that helps to bring rotation down into the lower spine. You might even notice how you're rolling from one side of the pubic bone to the other. You might even notice if there's like corners in where your leg and pubic bone meet. Does one of those corners tend to lift higher than the other side when you're twisting? Go ahead and bring your feet back to the floor. Curling your toes under with your toe tips on the floor. Can you straighten your knees? Maybe squeeze and release the glutes a few times. Maybe even hold the glutes squeezing. Maybe even add one or two hummings as you exhale. What's it like to hum against the floor, especially while you're holding your legs in extension? What does that do across the pubic bone where the psoas muscles cross? Eventually, you can let go of humming, knees return to the floor, Bending your knees, feet back to the ceiling. Try your windshield wipering again. See how that feels. When you return your feet to the floor, can you straighten your left knee? And with your left knee straight and lift your left leg away from the floor. And then lower your left leg back down and relax the knee. And then straightening the right knee, lifting the right leg away from the floor, keeping the knee straight, lower the leg back down. One more time, straightening the left knee, lifting the left leg. Keep your left kneecap pointing to the floor. Can you sway your left leg a little to the left of center and then towards center? So keeping the left leg off the floor, asking it to move to the left and back to center. And then back to where you started with the leg, lower the leg back down and rest. Same thing, second side, straightening the right knee, lifting the right leg. Slowly let the right leg drift towards the right and back towards center. Try to keep your knee aimed towards the floor. Eventually, leg back to center before lowering it. And then bend your knees again. Try your windshield wipering. Had that change after doing those single leg lifts. This next one's a little tricky. Bring your feet back to the floor. Straighten both knees, not a lot, just a little bit. Lift your feet off of the floor. How about a little bit of both legs widening and then hug together? Don't lift your legs super high. Try to keep your kneecaps pointing to the floor. And then legs back where you started, lowering them back down. Curl your toes under again and lift your knees off the floor. Maybe even squeeze the glutes again. Does that feel a little more open? And let go of your glute squeeze. Let your knees return to the floor. Bend your knees. Just do regular old windshield wipering. How's that feel now? From here, as you bring your feet back to the floor, ease your way over onto your back. And once you've made your way onto your back, do a little chukka chukka. And hold your floor with your hands. Chukka chukka is when you push pull on your feet and you create a gliding action from pelvis to head and back. And you use that to loosen up the muscles of your lower back. You might look a little more towards your thighs. That can get a little more flexion in the spine so you can get the lower back area. And then when you're ready, as you lower your head to the floor, bring your right knee towards your belly and straighten your left leg. And pause there for a moment. What's it like to be here and breathe, hugging one leg in? Maybe you're rocking your legs slowly from left to right a little. Some of you might be curious about slow ankle circles. So your foot circles around one direction a few times before reversing the other direction. As you hold your leg towards you for a few moments, could you turn your left leg so its toes and kneecap point towards the ceiling rather than turning out to the side? How about humming? What would it be like to have a slow humming sound while you hold one knee towards you? After that, if you wanted to make it a little harder, you could lift your left foot just a couple inches off the floor, not very high. What's it like to hum here? And if you wanted a little stronger, maybe lift your head also off the floor and try humming here. Try not to hold your breath. You can lower the head first when you're done. You can then lower the straight legs foot. And then as you let go of the Right leg, straighten and bend its knee, foot towards ceiling and back down a few times. What's that feel like? And then holding your knee a little bit straighter, you can let go of your leg with your hands. Maybe take your arms out to T position. Let this straightening leg drift over to one side and then back up and over to the other. You don't have to go all the way to the floor to start. Notice if you do go all the way to the floor, do you end up holding your breath or creating a pressure inside to stabilize you as you get into the difficult part of the movement? Carefully, your fireplace. No roasted toes. Come on back up. And then once you've lowered your leg down to the floor, just notice after you've reorganized the position of your pelvis and your shoulders, maybe even your clothes, what's it like to rest after doing that first one? And then we'll do the next side. So for me, it's the left knee hugging in. Right off, you might notice as you hug the left leg in, does it hug in the same as the right leg? Maybe, like for me, my left knee can hug in closer to my armpit, whereas my right knee goes closer to my sternum. Is there a difference in the limit of how this hip joint moves with this particular action? You might be curious about rocking your bent knee a little to the left and a little to the right. Is there a different limit for how this joint can function safely? And when you do get into the more challenging sensations, do you quickly bounce, rebound out of it? Or do you tend to linger in the difficult sensations and force yourself to tolerate them? How are you with yourself in your practice? What if the practice is really about learning to be with yourself? Going back to center, you might try point and flex of the ankle or circling the ankle. I notice with my left leg, my circle is much more to the big toe side than I can create towards the pinky toe side. What's yours like? Don't expect it to be the same as mine, but it might be similar. You circle the other way yet? Did you circle fast because you forgot the other way and you want to make sure you get it all in time? Hey, puppy dog. When you're ready for, I wasn't calling you a puppy dog. A puppy dog just showed up on screen. When you're ready, you can bend and straighten your knee. As soon as you start working with the knee against gravity, do you somehow grip in your headspace? Is it a gripping in your forehead or your eyes or your jaw or your lips or even in your thinking of what this should be like? And then the next time you have your knee more straightened, holding the leg in a more straightened way, let your leg drift over to the left and come back up and over to the right. And notice the first movement you did you take them as far as possible? You don't have to go as far as possible the first or any time. What if you go as far as your sensations tell you it's safe or practical for this healing movement? You tend to point your toes to move your leg or push out through your heel to move your leg. Maybe even notice how the upper body receives the twisting of the lower body. Come on back to center. You can lower your leg and put your leg back on the floor. Without doing that now. Go ahead and give yourself 30 seconds of rest here. as you let your body rest. And resting create unstiffening in muscles. Sometimes we hold things contracted that don't need to be contracted in this moment. When you're ready, the next time you're exhaling, can you divide the exhale into two parts? And when you do the first part of the exhale, does it seem like a certain region of your abdominal muscles contracts more than other regions? When I do that, I notice the contraction starts by my lower ribs, and then the second contraction is down by my pelvis. You might notice it as a left right experience or a deep surface experience. Go ahead and let go of two-part exhales for a moment. Maybe stretch your arms past your head, reach through your legs, Yastikasana. As you reach your arms and your legs long, stretch the bones as far away from your middle as you can. Stretch your feet one way and your hands the other. And then keep that stretching and squeeze your muscles while you're stretching them. This is called pandiculation. It's a nervous system reset. Let that go when you're ready. Maybe try not to hold the breath. Maybe also snug your back ribs to the floor first. Keep your back ribs down and then reach arm and legs. And then once the bones are stretching away, then squeeze the muscles around the cylinders of the bones. Try not to hold your breath. And then let that soften. One more time, just the right side. Can the right arm and right leg only stretch away? Keep the ribs down. As you lengthen the bones away, then squeeze the muscles around the bones as you breathe. Let go of the right side. How about just the left? Left arm and leg reach long, snugging the back ribs down. As you reach the limbs away, then squeeze the muscles around the bones. Don't hurt the elbow and knee joint. Notice if you're clenching your jaw. Let that go. Last one, do it in an X shape with your arms and legs. Open the arms and legs a little wider so you're in an X shape. And then reach out, reach like you could touch all edges of your home, of the room that you're in. Snug the back ribs down. Squeeze the muscles around the bones as you reach. And then let that go. And as you bring your legs back in towards you, hug your knees close to your belly as you can comfortably go. Maybe rock a little side to side. See what that feels like. And then bring your feet back to the floor. With your hands, place your hands on your belly. So one hand is below your belly button. I'm going to place my right hand between my belly button and pubic bone. And I'm going to place my left hand between my belly button and lower ribs. And let your elbows rest. You don't have to hold your wings up there. And then feel your breathing and notice where is more breath occurring, in the lower belly or the upper belly. We're going to go into two-part exhale again. What I'd like to invite you to do is, as you do the first part of the exhale, can the lower hand make a fist? And then in the second part of the exhale, let the upper hand make a fist. And then put the inhale in two parts. Can the upper hand open first? And then in the second part of the inhale, the lower hand opens. So we're exhaling, making a fist with the lower hand first, and then the upper hand. When you inhale, open first the upper hand, and then the lower hand. Let your hands be on the front, yeah, okay, front of your body, unless you'll make an adjustment there. I thought I miscued that. So exhaling, lower hand, the belly button, and then upper hand above the belly button. Inhale, open the upper hand, and then the lower hand. What I want to invite you to try is, can you tone your lower abdominal muscles in the first part of the exhale, and then the upper part of the abdominal muscles in the second part of the exhale? And then when you inhale, keep the lower abdominal tone. Can you release the upper abs first? And then the second part of the inhale, release the lower abs. So exhales, we're contracting bottom up, and inhales, we're releasing top down. Try that a few times. Bottom up exhale, top down inhale. Excuse me. This might be challenging or stretching your capacities for breath awareness. We might be stretching a limit of how you use these muscles when you breathe. So we're trying to create a new pattern. We're going to do it first out of gravity here on our back. Bottom up in two parts, top down in two parts. Trying not to rush the pauses between the breath's moving parts. And then if you think you've got it, same thing, just take your hands off your belly. Without your hands touching your belly, can you have a sense of bottom up exhales in two parts? And then top down inhales. And for me, it's always an awareness of, how do I keep the lower belly toning to release the upper belly first, and then let go of the lower belly? You might find a different difficulty as you try it, or it might not be difficult at all. It might be just piece of cake. No challenge here for you. Yay. Okay, and then when you're ready, let go of that. Just breathe normally, not dividing the breath. What's that like for you here? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Does that make sense? Exhaling in two parts, bottom up, inhaling in two parts, top down. Does it make sense? First question, does it make sense for your brain? Does your brain get it? Okay. And then next question, does your body get it? Can you do it in your body? A little, not even expert level, but can you kind of figure it out? Awesome. When you're ready, take your 2 feet off the floor, knees bent, slowly go to the left with your knees, come on back up, and then go to the right with your knees. So you get a little twisting for your abdominal muscles after that. Take your time. Maybe look over to the right when your knees are going. The tension sensations, the pulling sensations around your surface muscles. Clasp opposite elbows with your hands. How about looking in elbows left while knees together go right? So we're adding a little more difficulty, a little more tensioning happens. Next time you're back at center, how about exhale in two parts? So face and arms go one way, you the other. So you pause the movement, you pause the breath. Inhale, bring yourself back up. What's it like to exhale as you're stretching? And then inhale as you bring yourself back to center. As bottom up, top down to this. It's a lot of details. How do you work with the details little bit by little bit? So building on your existing wired patterns. And then the next time you're back to center, lower your arms, lower your legs. How about bridge, raising up in two parts and lowering down in two parts? What did you fall into? Did you fall into exhale on the way up, or are you inhaling on the way up? I didn't cue it. Where did your body naturally go? Do you naturally go to exhales on the up and inhales on the down? If you are in Grant Park or Ventura, move your feet a little closer to each other. Yes, and move your feet down your mat a little bit. So closer to midline and further away from your pelvis. Yeah. As long as your knee and leg can tolerate that. Okay, the next time you've landed, whichever breath pattern you've been doing, if you were exhaling up and inhaling it down, do the opposite. So can you do the opposite breath pattern in two parts as you go up and as you come back down? So we're chaining together the movement and the breathing pattern. Hopefully, we're getting you out of your comfort zone. Hopefully, this is challenging what's easy for you. And you have to concentrate. You have to have a little more curiosity to stay present as you try a movement that might not be in a natural pattern. You might find that you even flip back to the other one at some point without knowing you did it. Okay. And then the next time you've landed, go ahead and roll yourself over onto your belly. And make your way onto your belly. Bring yourself back up to hands and knees. Give yourself a little bit of movement there. See how that feels now. Take a lunge. You can start with right foot forward unless you have a preference today for left foot forward. Give yourself a little slow moving back and forth. Can that be a soothing action? And then next time you're bending into the lunge, can you bring your whichever foot is forward, bring that arm's hand up onto your knee and then twist in the direction of your forward thigh. The other hand can stay on the floor. Take your time here, breathing. It's difficult, maybe breathing in two parts. You want to add an expert level awareness. Make sure you're smooth as you start and stop the breath movement. So it's not all grunty or ujjayi-ful. That is doing this in the lunge. Bring awareness to what happens in your pelvic floor as you try. Do you clench in the mouth at all? Nice change. Very nice change. Okay. Coming out of the lunge as you look down, both hands back to the floor. Re-bend and re-straighten the front knee a couple times. So loosen up any congestion that built up there. Sunbird, the leg that's forward, bring it back, straighten the knees with your foot off the floor. So you've got your leg straight back behind you. Whichever leg is off the floor, straight back, take the opposite arm off the floor forward. Maybe reach each hand and foot apart and squeeze the muscles. Add a crossbody pandiculation here. And then as you soften the muscles, bend the elbow and the knee, reach back with your hand. Can you catch to your foot or your ankle or your shin? This is a little more tricky. Can you exhale and inhale in two parts here? If you can get the two-part exhale and inhale, how about add to that being aware of how you're starting and stopping the breath, even bottom up and top down. No slingshots when you do release the foot and bring the knee and hand back to the floor. Maybe a little cat-cow, see how that feels in your body. Second side of the lunge is next. You can take the opposite foot forward, a little bend and straighten. Go slow and easy. Don't force yourself to tolerate extreme sensations. Maybe go a little slower, especially as you get into the more intense places. In your own time, you can bend into the knee. Whichever leg is forward, that arm's hand goes up on your knee. Keep the other hand on the floor. And then twist yourself towards your forward thigh. And then once you're here, without jaw clenching, maybe two-part exhales and inhales. Maybe notice what kind of muscular activity participates in the pelvic floor. Is it different in the left leg side of the pelvic floor compared to the right leg side? When you're ready, you can look down and bring your hand to the floor. How about re-straightening and bending the knee? We're going to go to sunbird again. So whichever leg is forward, you bring that leg straight back behind you, straightening the knee, toes and kneecap pointing downwards at the floor. The opposite arm can reach forward. Maybe stretch the leg bones and the arm bones away from each other and then add a little muscular squeeze for pandiculation. At some point, once you've released the squeezing, reach back with your opposite hand to clasp on your foot or your ankle. And as you balance here, maybe try two-part exhale and two-part inhale. There's no rush to finish. Try not to slingshot your hand and foot apart. Once you're back to the floor, you can revisit cat-cow. And then maybe ease back to child's pose and then forward again towards up dog. Slow and easy movement back and forth. See how that shows up for you here. At some point, from table position, you can curl your toes under and raise into an easy downward dog. Pedal out the leg a little here. It'll look more at your hand. You might even pause the movements and then stretch your leg bones and stretch your arm bone down. Squeeze the muscles. You add a little pandiculation. Allow that pandiculating. And then as you ease your hands back towards your feet, once your hands are by your legs, bend your knees, place your palms above your kneecaps. Knees bent, elbows straight. And then add a little cat-cow. See how that feels? Knees bent, elbows straight. Yeah, good job. And then when you're ready, go ahead and just bring your arms forward in front of you. How about turning your palms to face each other? Sitting in your squat for a moment. Can you try a two-part exhale? Maybe look a little more downwards than forwards, just so your neck isn't so hyperextended. Good job. What's it like to even bring your shoulders more to the back of your body as your hands reach forward? Two-part exhale and inhale. Make sure you're equally standing on both feet, not preferencing one side. And then when it feels right, bring yourself all the way up to standing. Arms can come all the way up overhead, interlacing your fingers. Try a little side bending after that. Let that help loosen up around your IT band, sides of your legs. Come on back to center. Could you put your feet as comfortably close together as your knee joints will tolerate? So not everybody's likes their feet side by side, but comfortably close. Try your side bending again. And then pick one of those sides. Don't go as far as you can. Two-part exhale, two-part inhale. Can your shoulders let go of your neck so you're not shrugging up around your neck? Yeah, good job. Nice. Two-part exhale and inhale when one side of your belly is longer than the other. Ease your way back up. Whenever you feel ready, take the other side of the side bend. Gentle two-part exhale. If you've side bent too far, it might be painful or uncomfortable. So you can come out just a little bit. How do you make sure you're not working beyond your limit? Take your time. Come on back up. Just ease yourself from one side to the other. How's that feel now? And then once you've come on back up, let your arms lower down. Once you've lowered your arms, try little coat sleeves. Bring some twisting into your body. Thumbs up, thumbs down. How y'all feeling so far? Awesome. Let's go ahead and I'm going to turn sideways on my mat. So I'm facing one of the short edges. Bring your hands onto your pelvis. Shift your weight over onto your right foot. And then as you lean forward a little bit, take your right leg backwards. So approaching warrior three, and then come all the way back up to your starting point. Switch to the other leg, and then do the same thing. So you're going to lengthen out and then come on back up. Those of you that have worked with me using the strap, you know how we use the strap around the foot and we were pushing out through the foot to try it? See if you can reach through your leg as you tip forward. Maybe imagine the crown of your head goes one way and your foot goes the other way. And then come back up. Try to keep that lifting leg straight. So notice if you're bending the knee to come forward. Can that knee stay straight as your leg is going behind you? And come back up. Now, add a little something special to this. Lift the corners of your lips. Just a tiny bit. You don't have to show your teeth. Remember, keep your lips together. But as you lift the corners, you put a little smile on your face as you try. Coming forward, maybe even pause there for a couple breaths. What's it like to pause here? And then rise back up. And then try the other side again. Remember, straighten the back knee. Little smile on the lips with the lips together. What's that like? Again, you don't have to go fully horizontal. And come on back up. We're going to do it one more time. This time, as you start on the other foot and as you move into it, can you do a two-part exhale and a two-part inhale? So you have a sense of the belly narrowing to center, but you're still reaching the leg and the head away from each other. Two-part exhale. Does that help you sustain a little easier? Maybe not. Don't forget to smile. And when you're ready, ease your way back up and eventually try the other side. So same thing, the back knee straightens before you come forward. And then once you're at some distance, you don't have to go fully horizontal, add two-part exhale and two-part inhale. Maybe even add bottom up and top down. Maybe pay attention to smoothly moving into the pauses and out of the pauses. And then when you're complete, come on back up. Once you come on back up, walking your hands down the front of your legs, give yourself an easy forward fold. See how that feels on your hamstrings afterwards? Maybe sway a little from side to side. Maybe pedal out the legs so one knee bends and the other knee straightens. And then make your way back up into standing. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Anybody find that adding the two-part exhale and inhale gave you a little more stability in that warrior three attempt? Anybody? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't know. I love that answer. I don't know. Okay. Try a little coat sleeves after that. Give that a twist. And then when you're ready, mountain pose. Set your feet up so they're parallel-ish. Feet comfortably close without creating disturbance in your knee joints. And let your arms come forward, palms facing each other. And then bring your arms up into a V shape. Make sure your shoulders aren't grabbing your neck. Can you let your shoulders free away from your neck? Maybe even move your hands so your hands are just a little bit wider apart overhead. Yeah. Can that help your shoulders free up your neck? Oh, really nice. Good job. Can you reach through all of your finger webbings? What happens if your hands, if you focus on the finger webbings, try not to just bend your fingers backwards. Maybe close your eyes. And in your own time, two-part exhale, two-part inhale. Remember, we use the two-part exhales to bring a stretching into our respiratory diaphragm. As the outside of the body tones and stiffens, the respiratory diaphragm inside is softening and lengthening. When the outside of the belly softens and lengthens, the diaphragm is contracting and shortening. Maybe close your eyes, go inside. Feel how the arms are getting tired. How do you organize yourself to stay with whatever you have to stay with when you're getting tired or you want it to change? Would it make a difference if you did a little bit of neck rotation towards the left arm and forward and then towards the right arm? Does rotating in the neck help the arms? And then when you're ready, come on back to center. Slowly lower your arms to horizontal in front of you. And notice there's a relief, but it's not a complete relief. How do you organize with this? And you try two-part exhale and inhale here. By holding the arms this way, how does that create a different experience through the abdominal muscles? Especially if you're going bottom up on the exhale and top down on the inhale. Okay, last one when you're ready. Let your arms lower, clasp your hands behind you. You might want to move the arms a little bit. You might want to side bend a little bit. You might even try an attempt at coat sleeves with your hands behind you. And then from here, as you bend into your knees, fold over your legs. And as you bring your hands more upwards, straighten the knees a little bit. So you have a sense of pushing or reaching through the feet. The neck lengthened. What's it like to have your arms behind you as you lengthen the back of your legs? And any muscles on the back of the legs unstiffen a bit to create more length. Notice, are you pushing equal weight into both feet, or is one leg pressing more? And then let your hands lower to your pelvis. And as you separate your fingers, slide your arms down the side of your leg towards the floor and walk your hands out and your feet back. Settle out down dog. See how down dog feels now. And then as you lower your knees down to the floor, see how cat cow feels now. And then for a puppy stretch, you can either just lower elbows to the floor, or some of you might have a little more flexibility so you can widen your elbows and lower your forehead down, and then maybe reach your arms out past your head like super person, keeping your knees bent, butt up in the air. If you're finding the two-part exhale and inhale informative today, you might try it in this shape. It might invite you to feel the connection of your pectoral chest muscles with your abdominal muscles. Might not. Make sure your neck stays safe. You can stay here longer if this is good. And if you need to come out, you'll lower the elbows and slide them one at a time back under your shoulders. And then one hand at a time, placing your palms onto the floor under your shoulders to rise up to table. And then settle back to child's pose, bending the knees, fold over the legs, maybe wobble a little bit side to side. When you're ready from here, as we make our way down onto our back for the last part of our practice, you can ease your way up and roll over onto your back. If there's any other movement or stretch you want to have on the way, you can do that. Once you've made your way onto your back, go ahead and figure four. I'm going to go left ankle onto right knee. And then pulling the legs towards, you can take your hands and clasp around your shin or behind your thigh. There could be rocking. There could be straightening and bending the right knee. Some of you might wish to lift your head away from the floor. Gently contracting and relaxing the glute muscles might be informative here. Take your time, figure four with left ankle on right knee. And then check back in. How did we start today? We started with noticing the four-part breathing, unclenching teeth, tongue resting on roof of mouth. Stay a little longer if this side is good. And when you're ready to transition, you unclasp the hands and uncross the leg, and then place the opposite foot on the other knee. And then you can clasp your hands this time around the shin or behind the thigh on the opposite leg. You might add a little bit of rocking. There's always straightening and bending the left knee. And there's also lifting the head away from the floor. Eventually, you can come out. If you want to stay longer for time or experience, do that. If you're done, you can uncross the legs and bring your feet back to the floor. And once you do have 2 feet on the floor with knees bent, do some easy knee swivels, both legs over to the left together, rising together, both legs over to the right together. In a sloppy twist, you could take both knees together over to the right. And to this, you might add, so it's a sloppy twist. So I've got my left knee up. You could take your right foot up and just rest it on the outside of the left knee. It's not going to work for everybody. Your right knee might stay on the floor, and that can create a deeper opening along the outside of the left hip there. Some of you might even wish to snow angel the arms past the head. You can do little reaching movements through the arms one at a time or together. Eventually, the arms would come down. You could take the right foot then off the left knee and then bring the knees back up. You might want to straighten both legs before the other side. Eventually, sloppy twist with feet on the floor, two bent knees, slow, go to each side. Go to one side versus the other. And then for me, next time both knees are over to the left. And then only if you want extra, you could put the left foot up on the outside of the right knee. And just let the left leg hang down. That might be enough. Some of you might want to snow angel the arms up past the head. You can reach through your arms one at a time or reach together. Glute squeeze and release. Eventually allow the arms to come on back down. Take the foot off the knee and let both knees rise up. Let your knees together swivel over the right and left. See what that feels like now. And then in your own time, you can straighten both legs out across the floor. Maybe again, sweep the arms up past the head. Try pendiculation now. Legs go one way, arms go the other. It's easier to keep the ribs on the floor. How's it feel if you stretch the limbs out and then snug the muscles in around the bones? So contracting the muscles while you reach. And then soften, can bring the arms down. You might choose to put props around you or over you or under you, maybe something under the back of the knees, maybe something over your body like a blanket or an eye pillow. As you settle in for Shavasana, if you're inclined to respond, thumbs up, thumbs down. How's your practice feel for you now? Awesome. Thanks for your feedback. As you settle into your resting position, make it one that you can actually rest in. As you settle in, remind yourself each breath has four parts. Lips together, teeth apart, maybe swallow so the tongue goes to the roof of your mouth. If you like, hum as you exhale. Create some vibration. The yogi ancients describe vibration as being the creation of the universe. Sound. Said that the yogis, when they would go into meditation, that the ancients would hear the echo of the sound that created the universe, the echo of the Big Bang, if you will, the echo of the word that was in the beginning. And as you hum a few more times, recognize that before your vibration, there's a space before a silence. And after your vibration, there's a space afterwards, a silence. The next time you're humming, can you listen towards the silence that continues underneath and behind the sound? And when you're ready to do your final humming sound, can you continue orienting yourself towards the silence that's behind all sound, the silence behind your breathing, the silence behind your body's sensations, silence that's behind all of your emotions and your thoughts. And let your breathing begin to quiet and to settle. And eventually let go of controlling your breathing, becoming the watcher, just observing what's happening. Eventually, you're watching things and you're just experiencing what's happening. You are what's happening. Go ahead and take the next 60 seconds here in silence. Give yourself permission to rest and abide here a little while longer today before you get up and move in, move on to whatever's next for you. Maybe even plant a seed that as you go through these next hours and days ahead, you'll still be listening towards the silence that's behind and underpinning everything. Thanks for joining, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all again next time.